On the cutting edge of anomaly research, you are about to experience The Evidence with your host, 3D pioneer and image analyst with Mars X3D, E.W. Gannett.
Well, hi there, and welcome to episode 109 of The Evidence. This is your buddy Dave over at Mars X3D, and no, I'm not trying to be cool by wearing sunglasses. I actually had a minor eye operation a couple days ago, and I'm going to be looking like a panda for the next couple of weeks, and I'd rather not scare the children in the audience, with the exception of Jimmy Bob, our 7-year-old viewer who needs a little scaring every now and then. Anyway, we've got some really neat stuff coming down the pike, and trying to keep up with all the finds that everyone has made. Now, a little bit late-breaking news. I have paused the Mars X3D Facebook group. Facebook is messing with me, and I won't bore you with details, but I'm sick of them making executive decisions and cutting me out of the loop about my group. So I get to be a grumpy old man. I earned the right. So I paused the group. You know what? They won't even let you delete something. You can't go in there and delete anything. Maybe you know how, but I spent 2 hours online Googling and looking up stuff so I could delete the page and just look at Facebook in the mirror. Now, I will continue to post these videos on Facebook on the various Mars Anomalies groups, but my main focus will be right here on YouTube on this channel. Now, very quickly, if you're not familiar with X3D viewing, this video won't make a lick of sense to you unless you learn it. There are links in the description below, and anybody can learn it in a couple of minutes. Anyway, I'm jabbering a lot, and the bright light is bothering my eyes, so by golly, let's just dive right in. Just recently, I was discussing this classic view from 1272 with Jimmy Roberts, and he pointed out a number of compelling artifacts I'd never really paid attention to back in the day. You can see some of them inside the various target boxes. There are a lot more, but we'll have a quick look at these in just a moment. And just a technical thing, when I was processing this one, I necessarily cut off the classic anomaly for which this image is so well known. It's just off screen, as I've indicated here, and it's one you've no doubt seen many times before. But let's have a quick look at it before we dive into the other ones. This big box-like structure has another big cube just behind it, and as always, more anomalies surrounding it as well. Back in the day, this classic anomaly was very convincing to any number of people who felt this was a fabled smoking gun that pointed to an ancient civilization on Mars. And really, this is quite challenging to explain away as mere erosion or a freak of geology. But let's check out some of the other artifacts scattered around this area. How about what appears to be a piece of die-cut sheet metal? The big hole in the center and the various angles all fairly shout manufactured object. Then there are these two items. Let me highlight the one in back for you. Here we have what seems to be a rectangular beam on the right side and a large industrial clip or attachment on the left. Down in front, we have a long, straight, rectangular beam, possibly metallic, and just to the right of that, a cylindrical object, like a broken pipe. And there's more here, of course, but let's move on. Here's another bit of what seems to be mangled and mud-fossiled mechanics. As I highlight it for you, pay attention to the very purposeful looking T-shape and other right angles incorporated into this piece. The zigzag cut and various bits of mechanical looking remains on top make this one an artifact candidate as well. And what can you say about this one? The beams on either side, the rivets, the radius kind of pizza slice shape go way beyond the mechanics of simple erosion. Andrew Lane found something interesting in this recent shot from Curiosity. I find it really challenging to imagine the largest piece on the left to be natural in origin. Look at those arrow straight lines, the wide variety of and especially the depth of the carving. It seems apparent that the piece downhill to the right is broken off from the larger portion. It bears the same type of carving. It's very likely that the other pieces belong with it as well, but there's just not enough resolution to make that call. It's interesting to consider from the cultural context just what this type of carving indicates. The various shapes don't appear to be letters exhibiting the regularity and arrangement that we associate with written communication. Think hieroglyphics or cuneiform writing. We may not be able to read it, but we can tell it represents communication. Nor do we see a recognizable facial pattern, unless the portions not visible to us contain that information, and this then becomes a statue of someone or something. Now, as I look at this, I'm reminded of the glyphs done by the Maori people, a very stylized rendering of natural objects broken down into interlaced geometric figures. Now, I'm not saying the Maori came from Mars, and so far we've only found one piece that reminds me of a moa, those big carved heads on Easter Island. This one is from way back in the days of Spirit. But Mars is full of surprises, and we may yet discover more cultural linkages to the South Pacific, just as we found cultural analogs to the Egyptians, the Hindus, and other cultures. As long as we're on carvings for the moment, here is a deeply carved wall, possibly of a buried structure, that Rami Bar Ilan shared with us just last year. Rami does outstanding work, and he usually manages to surprise us on a regular basis. We'll have more from him in just a little bit. Here's something Jimmy Roberts shared with me during our conversation the other day. It's a classic anomaly, and it's one that's been pointed out by any number of researchers in the past. It's easy enough to see inside the yellow target. This almost looks like a decorative framework, possibly a window or maybe even the top of an ornate box. What's maddening are those pieces buried in the sand, pieces that would almost certainly reveal more information about this amazing object. In my opinion, this is very clearly artificial, an artifact created by an intelligent mind sometime in the distant past. We'll wrap things up today with a classic find made way back in 2010 by researcher Brian Hopjins. I haven't seen too much of Brian nowadays, but when you make unique finds like this one, maybe quality outweighs quantity. Rami decided to do the processing on this in 2015, and as far as I know, this is the first time it's been presented in X3D. It's almost impossible to look at this and not think that these are the skeletal remains of some ancient creature. The spine, the limbs, and the skull, complete with staring eye sockets, seem too well organized and too well situated to just be a freak of Martian geology. Although anything's possible, I guess. Well, that's a wrap for this week, and for those of you who choose to support this work, no matter the amount, thank you very much. There's an email in the description if you have something you'd like me to take a look at. I'm currently backlogged about 6 weeks on anomalies you guys have sent me, so please be patient. I'm just one guy. Meanwhile, if you saw something you liked, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. It helps me know whether to continue this work. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell. And to all you proud weirdos out there, you know who you are. Stay safe and stay weird. This is your buddy Dave over Mars X3D. Be well.